Ooh, what's going on, everybody? Hello! Today we're gonna have the Lost Ark review. The small numbers, the big numbers, doesn't matter. This is something brand new and fresh. So, okay, let's talk about a bit. There is something really comforting about being able to shut off your brain while playing a game and just take in the little pleasures of watching small numbers turn into the big numbers. Bags of loot bursting your enemies' dead bodies as you pummel them to death, and feeling like an absolutely god as you rake in experience point and pump up your skills to make them even stronger. Lost Ark is exactly that kind of game. I'll play when I'm winding down after a long day, but want to feel like I'm still making progress in something. When I played the closed network battle last year, I came away from Lost Ark thinking it's a pretty solid looter action RPG. The story was for the most part complete nonsense, but the combat felt solid and satisfying, and the loot followed non-stop. I'm a simple person, I see big numbers and fancy loot, and now you got me hooked. Throw in a combat system that's not hot, bad, and all in. My impression from the beta remain largely the same. You'll create a character and choose a class, then embark on an exciting journey to find the titular Lost Ark and keep it off enemy hands so you can save the world, or something like that. When you are really here for the combat and just powerful it makes you feel. Lost Ark lets you choose from a variety of different classes, each with its own advanced variants that change up your playstyle even further. I started with the martial artist base class because I like the idea of punching things, then went with the soul fist advanced class, which allowed me to punch things but with the magic. The Soul Fist excels at creating distance between herself and her enemies, but also has a good mobility skills to help her get in close quickly if needed. There are more tradition classes like the Paladin and the Mage, but even those come with enough advanced variants as well to help break up the monotony. The only downside is that when you pick a class you're locked in. You'll need to create a new character if you wanted to experiment with the other classes, but considering that Lost Ark doesn't encourage players to create odds or take full advantage of the game structure, I'm fine with that. More of the endgame stuff later. Everything will feel overwhelming at the first, especially as you are getting a hang of chaining your various class-specific skills together to create combos. That said, Lost Ark does a fantastic job of making you feel powerful regardless of what class you're even chosen. Every skill feels widely and punchly, and chaining them together to whack away at large groups of enemies is just really satisfying. The sound design carries the game here. I constantly found myself releasing the little thunks and the cracks of my foes' bones breaking when I'm punching them to the death. As you level up, you also earn skills points that can be used to make your existing skills even more powerful. You can even augment them to make them hit harder, but with the slightly long cast times or increase the number of projectiles you can fire, but reduce their power slightly. There are plenty to experiment with even in the skill trees, and the building possibilities in the Lost Ark certainly feels endless with just the sheer amount of skills and variations you have to for each individual class. Grinding your way up to the level 50 as you track through the story quest can be a bit a slug, especially if you're not invested in the narrative. That being said, I did appreciate the way the quests were structured in Lost Ark, so that I never felt like I was constantly backtraining or spending too much time in a single zone. But the main story quest and side quest keep the forward momentum is going, as they all constantly propel you towards new areas or zones. Because of this, there is no reason not to pick up any side quest. You see along the way, you pick up the side quest in the point A, then head to the point B to turn it in, which is where you need to go to progress the main story anyways. No need to head point B to complete a task, then backtrack all the way back to the point A to turn it in front of the reward. Well, Lost Ark cuts off backtraining whenever possible, which made questioning and leveling largely painless, a pleasant experience. It definitely gets tedious after a while, especially since the quests are pretty much all fetch questions of variation. Kill X thing, collect Y thing, I accepted that this is par for the course for any MMO, but if you were hoping for more interesting quests in this game, you likely won't find any here. Lost Ark truly shines when you get to the dungeons and co-op the content. The dungeons themselves are pretty well designed, and while the early game ones and pretty simple in terms of mechanics, they do ramp up quickly as you approach to the end of the story. Most of them can be done solo, but you have a lot of fun running through them in a group, whether it's friends or through in the game matchmaking. Like any good MMO, Lost Ark encourages you from front dungeons towards the end of the game for the chance of getting better loot. And with how fun some of the boss battles are, I didn't have any qualms doing just that. I do wish the dungeons were just a little bit more challenging in terms of forcing players to learn mechanics, but I appreciate Smilegate keeping them things friendly for newcomers and the casual players who more not give time to sit down. So, Lost Ark might be one of the most banal games you ever come across if you're just looking at it from a narrative point of view, but it's a prime example of how good gameplay and combat can carry the entire experience. Sometimes all it takes is the appeal of watching your tiny numbers gradually grow into the big numbers for you to get hooked on a game. About the cons, I could tell the story is very blunt, and the questions will definitely get monotonous and repetitive quick when you finish most of them. But nevertheless, the game is a great. So, go check all the links in the description. Download, play, enjoy. Peace. Bye.